All right, I'm here with a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct predictions video with beloved Monster Hunter YouTuber Sky85.
Hello.
We're here to discuss what we think will happen next Wednesday, April 2nd, at the Nintendo Direct that is meant to reveal the Switch 2. I don't remember what time it's at. I think it's at fine, I don't know. It's in the middle of the day. It's not like an evening or afternoon one. I actually have the day off work that day because I took a personal day for something else that wasn't even related to this. So I kind of got lucky there. So I'm going to try to stream it. But we will see what happens there. But any overall thoughts on the Switch 2? What you think we're going to see before we get into like games? That'd be a question for you. I left it
I
open to
mean,
you.
that would. I would assume we'd have to learn about the specs, right?
Yeah, specs. Do you think the specs are going to be? Where do you think the specs are going to be at? I know we're hearing all over the place.
I know. I'm hoping for at the very least 1080p, 60 FPS docked
Yeah,
for every game.
that would be ideal.
At least. I know some people say it'll be 4K 60 FPS. I'm not very optimistic about that, given that
Maybe some
like
games,
the
but I
PS5.
can't imagine.
Yeah, maybe some games, but it's like I imagine they're not gonna market it like that.
Yeah, I mean, when the PS5, you can't even get 4K 60 on a lot of games like base PS5. I don't think that we're. I think the rumors are it's around maybe PS4 Pro level of power, which I think is appropriate for a handheld like that. I think that would be good, especially for what I think the price point will be like $400 or something. But I think it would be pretty bad if it was still 30 FPS, 1080p most of the time, hopefully situation.
Yeah, it's 2025. It's time to it's time for 1080p 60 FPS to just be the norm.
Yeah, like Switch has been. I think people really wanted that Switch Pro or that Switch upgrade because Switch has really been struggling lately. And as someone who plays a lot of older games, it's just games that are getting a little bit too, big for the hardware. And it's tough. I haven't played Switch a whole lot because a lot of games that come out, like when something like Echoes of Wisdom comes out and has a frame rate that just chugs, or like Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive, which people are seeing has like a 60 FPS mode that's in the game's files but not accessible on normal Switch. It's kind of like, well, why wouldn't I just wait until new hardware comes out to get a good, the best version of it possible? So I haven't really played my Switch that much other than like Mario Party Jamboree, stuff like that. But where are you at with the Switch and the hardware?
Yeah, I'm playing through Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition right now, and
Mm-hmm.
even like especially when the barracks, like the main hub that you're in, even when that has like really bad lag spikes,
Ugh.
there's like a we're like pretty desperate for
Yeah.
an upgrade. The game's at 30 FPS, which is it's fine, but coming from Monster Hunter Wilds, which I play in performance mode, so it's at almost 60 all the time. It's rough. The game looks great, but it would look even better, at a much higher fidelity,
Yeah,
much
it's
higher frame
time.
rate.
It's time. And at the hardware, I think it'll be $400. I don't know if you have any other prediction. I'm thinking base Switch to no, Pro controller. That'll be separate. But the Switch 2 main bundle, no game, just a system. I think it'll be $399.99, just with prices currently where things are. The only thing that would make me think maybe not is because the Xbox Series S is only $299.99. But let's be real, I don't think too many people are really wanting the Xbox Series S. The
Right.
digital only console that's a little bit less powerful than the Series X. I mean, I don't think that it's really much of a competition. I think Series S is for people who just want to play like Fortnite or Madden, where Switch 2 I think is in its own place. So I feel like 399. I don't know if you think it'll be higher, lower. What are we thinking?
No, I'm thinking it's gonna be 400. Um,
Yeah, I think it's safe. I don't think they'll
I'm,
go much higher.
some of the hardware decisions that they made on the console, like the LCD screen instead of OLED, and
Mm-hmm.
the little dongle that connects the Joy-Con to the console, it's
Mm-hmm.
rather than like magnetic charging. I think those decisions they made there,
Cost
it's
cutting.
probably to keep, yeah, it's probably to keep the cost down.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I would assume 400. Cheaper would be nice, but I think 400 is
Mm-hmm.
um gonna be where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, I would be thrilled if they're like this thing's 199.99, but I just know it's not happening. I think they'll still try to
Yeah.
sell the main Switch for 299. I mean, I think that they're gonna still sell Switch One, and this can kind of segue into the next topic. But like, how long will they have Switch One on store shelves? How long will they support it with games? Um, and I mean, I don't see it having a price cut, maybe $50 or something. Maybe they get more aggressive with like bundling games or something. But I think the Switch One will still sell for a while to people who aren't ready for this Switch Two. But what do you think? Switch One, where do we think
Oh yeah.
it's going?
Oh yeah. It's definitely gonna last for maybe almost the entire life cycle of Switch 2. I don't know.
I mean, when you look at the
There are just so many.
PS5, we're like, over 4 years into the PS5, and PS4 games are still coming out, and PS4 versions of games are coming out. I think that it's not as much of a technical leap between what Switch would be and Switch 2, but I could see it still being similar, especially like smaller games are going to want to have 50 million player base, even if not all those consoles are going to be active once Switch 2 comes out. Like some smaller games, I think probably we'll still see Switch games for like 5 years. But what about first parties Nintendo? How long do you think?
First party Nintendo. Geez, maybe like a couple years. They definitely
Yeah,
can't just whatever games they're gonna announce for like the opening titles. I don't know if they're gonna be exclusively
I would really hate to
s-
see that. If they
Switch
were like
2.
Switch 2's coming out and they do the PS5 thing where it's like God of War Ragnarok's on PS4 and Horizon Forbidden West's on PS4, I would kind of hate to see that. Like, I kind of want them to be like, yeah, Mario Kart 9, this is only on Switch. If you want Mario Kart on Mario Kart 9's only on Switch 2. If you want Mario Kart on Switch 1, you're gonna have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, they need something that's gonna
Yeah.
sell the system. Like, if this is
Yeah.
a numbered upgrade, I don't think that they can put everything out. But I could see stuff like Metroid Prime 4 being on both because they already announced it for Switch, and maybe
Oh yeah,
smaller
they announced
games
that.
too. I think maybe
Hmm.
smaller games too, though. Like maybe if like a Mario sports game comes out, it would be on both. But I also just think like these smaller games. I look at like the last 2 years of the 3DS after the Switch came out, where it was like, yeah, there was some slightly bigger games and there were some smaller games, but I feel like we're gonna get smaller games and then maybe a Pokemon game because Pokemon's always late on the Switch original, but it won't be as much of an inconvenience because you can just play that on your Switch too. So I could see us getting Switch games for like 2 or 3 years after the Switch 2 comes out.
Right.
But I don't. I think
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
the big stuff will be Switch 2.
yeah, the big stuff, whatever next 3D Mario game they're cooking, they have to be cooking something.
Yeah, that was my first. Do we
It's
want to go into game predictions now? Because that was like one of my first ones. It's like if there's not a 3D Mario game that's gonna come out in the first year of the Switch 2, I'm gonna probably just fall to the ground and like just die. Honestly.
it's been what since October 2017.
Yeah,
So
it'll be
so we're
8 years.
nearing 7.
Be eight
Yeah,
years.
we're nearing 8 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Probably by like if they put it out like probably people think they would around Christmas time on Switch 2, it would be like 8 years since Odyssey. When you look at it, it's like Mario 64 to Mario Sunshine was like 6 years. and that was long. And then Mario Sunshine to Galaxy was like 5 years, and Galaxy to Galaxy 2 was 3 years and stuff like that. And it's like starting to get, it's like you guys really took 8 years for this. Like this better be good. I have no doubt that it would be good, but why would they? Why would we want to have this so long? Take so long. I mean, there has to be something coming soon. If there's not, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, here's our next game, and it's like new Super Mario Brothers switched up, and it looks like new Super Mario Brothers. It doesn't even look like Mario Wonder. It just looks like new Super Mario Brothers Wii. I will probably, honestly, just stop functioning completely. I'll probably just like I don't even know, go unresponsive.
Yeah. They have to have a 3D Mario. Maybe they delayed it on purpose
Yeah, you
just
almost
so they
have to
can release it for the
imagine.
Switch too.
You almost have to
Like,
imagine. This is also Mario's 40th anniversary this year, 2025. Uh, like I really feel like they got to have something going on, right? Like Mario Kart 9's great and all, but I think there would be probably more. I mean, they did several things for the Mario 35 anniversary. Like they did, I'm trying to, they did, I know it came out after it, but like at the beginning of the next year, they had like Mario 3D World. They had a bunch of different stuff. So like I could see that. Um, 3D Mario. I think Mario Kart 9. What do you think of Mario Kart 9? Launch title? I mean, that's the only game they've showed us so far, and we don't even know if that's what it's
yes.
called or.
Yeah. So it has to be a launch title,
I feel
right?
like that's the safest launch title of all time.
It's
Like you
yeah,
launched that with Mario.
extremely safe. Um, looking at the Switch One, they released Mario Kart 8 Deluxe like a month later, about
Yeah, it was
I
in
think a little
April.
over a month later.
The original Mario Kart 8 came out in May of 2014, so by the time this comes out, that game will be 11 years old. We've had 11 years of Mario Kart 8's
Mm-hmm.
reign. It's time.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart 8 is great, and they added a lot to it, but it is time.
Yeah, it's time for something new, something fresh.
New Super Mario Kart, and it looks like it's side scrolling, and it's new Super Mario Brothers. What if they make that?
That would be pretty bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't care for that much. Um, I kind of, as far as other Mario games, I kind of think like maybe Mario Maker 3, something like that. I don't know. That was like 2019 Mario Maker 2. I could see them putting out a Mario Maker 3. I feel like that's an easy, oh, it's Mario's 40th anniversary type game. It's been a while. Maybe a Mario sports game. There was always rumors of Namco Bandai making like a Mario baseball game that never came out for Switch. Maybe something like that. Although I feel like that's a Switch 1 type game at this point. Any other
Yeah.
Mario things that you think we would get? A Mario RPG, maybe?
Maybe. Um,
We got a
yeah,
new
I'm not really
Mario
sure.
and
They're
Luigi.
very
We got a remake of Mario RPG. We got a remake of Thousand Year Door. It's been since like 5 years since Origami King, so maybe a new Paper Mario. I don't know.
yeah. Mario seems to be pretty unpredictable.
Yeah, it's hard to really
Like
kind of.
we know it's gonna come out, but we know it has to come out, but we also don't know like
Yeah, it's hard to predict Mario.
like the
It
next
really
3D
is.
Mario comes out. The next 3D Mario has to come out, right? But we don't know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it could be like Super Mario Expedition, Super Mario Excursion. Um, and I don't. Yeah, I mean,
Likely something like
I don't know
that,
what it could
but we
be.
have no.
I wouldn't have
Yeah, we
guessed
just
Mario Odyssey with him going around the world and having a hat that you could throw at things. So I mean, they kind of just got to show it to us. But no doubt there's a 3D Mario game.
yeah. So there's no doubt they're gonna make other Mario games. I just can't predict anything.
What about 2D Mario?
It's
Do you
not
think there'll
possible.
be a follow up to Wonder?
Um, yeah, I like the Wonder style. I didn't really play that game for that long, but the game
I
wasn't
never,
that long anyways.
I never finished it. It was fine, but I don't know. I think I'm more into 3D Mario. People were saying how it's like this is
Yeah.
so much better than the new Super Mario Brothers games, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's more interesting visually, but I don't really see the level design being that much better. Like nothing really stood out to me from that game.
Yeah, the game isn't that short any sorry, the game isn't that long anyways. I feel like I consumed enough of it and I'm pretty satisfied. But yeah, 3D Mario is generally more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
If they do make like a 3D, not 3D, if they do make a Mario Maker 3, I would assume they would add Wonder stuff to it. I mean, it would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they I would hope they would, but you never know. It feels like they had a bunch of extra content they were gonna put in two that they just never did. They stopped supporting that kind of early, so I wonder if that's something. I'm not sure, but I kind of want things to be different. I think with Switch 2, if Switch 2 is just kind of more of the Switch 1 where it's like, all right, Switch 2 is out. That means we get to restart. You're going to get a new Smash Brothers, you're going to do a new Mario Kart, you're going to get a new Splatoon, like we're going to just do it all over again. I'd be pretty disappointed. I kind of want to see new things, even if it's like it doesn't need to all be new IP, but it would be like, oh, let's see a new, Mario game or something new from Zelda rather than just like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do a third Zelda Breath of the Wild type game. We're gonna do Mario Odyssey 2. Like, I want to see new stuff.
Yeah, it has to be new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can take another Breath of the Wild 3.
I think I'm
I
done
don't
with
think,
that style.
yeah,
I'd like to see something new.
yeah. Of course, they are like Mario. They have to be making another 3D Zelda
Mm-hmm.
game, but
Yeah, I'm sure they are, but I'm wondering what it'll. I say this,
yeah,
I want it to be new, but at the same time, if they say that they're putting out Wind Waker HD ported, I would be very happy. And if they said that they were remaking
yeah,
Ocarina of
yeah,
Time, I would be very happy. So it's
yeah. If they
hypocritical, I
said,
know, but
yeah, yeah. If they say come out and say like, oh yes, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD for the Switch 2, I'll be like, hell yeah.
yeah,
Because
I mean, it would be awesome. It'd be awesome, but
now those games won't be like stuck in GameCube and Wii
3DS. I
U
mean, GameCube,
and
three Wii U, 3DS.
3DS.
That'd be just nice. So there was this
Yeah.
kind of thing I think came out today that it was reported from Insider Gaming, who's pretty reliable. Tom Henderson. He had something that at GDC they're talking, I guess, about Switch 2 and like how it's going to come out, and it's saying that Switch 2 will launch its games in like three phases, starting with like the first party games coming out first around June, and then like Switch 2 coming out in June, first party games come out mostly then October through November kind of third party stuff comes out, and then holiday would be like the third phase, I guess, for a little bit of everything. I don't know exactly what that means. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't mean that Switch 2 is not going to get any third party games around launch time. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'm wondering if we are going to get a bigger launch lineup than the original Switch that was essentially like, hey, here's Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch and snipper clips, and that's about it. A couple third party games like Bomberman, Super Bomberman R, but like I don't know. But that's something I wanted to talk about. I think once we talk about the games that we have in mind, I think I want to come back and like create the ideal launch lineup that we think is going to look. But do you have any predictions now moving on from Mario?
Hmm.
I'll give you some time to
Let's
think. I
talk
have
about.
one.
Let's
I
Yeah.
have one. Can I give you
Yeah.
time to
Why don't
think?
you go first then?
I'll give you this one. I had an idea of a follow up to Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. I feel like it's been time. That was like 3 years ago that game came out. Um, I feel like they could do a sequel 3D Kirby game. I think it'd be easy enough for that. So I don't know. It's been a while since any Kirby stuff has come out, and Kirby's usually a constant force. Although I could see Kirby holding down the fort on the Switch One. He's always pretty late. Like Kirby's Dream Land 3 was like 1997 Super Nintendo release, so Kirby's always a little bit late to the punch. But I could see Kirby, holding down the fort on Switch One. But I also could see maybe a 2D Kirby on Switch One, and then a follow up to Forgotten Lands on Switch Two. So, any thoughts on that, or do you have
Yeah.
your next pick?
I kind of want to continue on with the Zelda talk.
Go ahead.
What Zelda game they're gonna come out?
The floor is
Um,
yours.
the floor is mine.
The floor is yours, brother.
Yeah. So they have to be making another 3D Zelda at this point, but uh, I don't think they're gonna make another sandbox style Zelda game like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think they probably want to move on from that. What I kind of want to see is to I want them to make Link more give Link back like some of his original tools from the older games, like the hook shot or like the grappling hook, but make it more interesting and add a little bit more uh like immersive gameplay. Back in like Wind Waker, for example, like the grappling hook only had like
Mm-hmm.
one or two uses, but I want to see a little bit more. And I think that's the direction they want to take 3D Zelda.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't know if we need the.
just looking back at like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I think they want to emphasize more on immersive gameplay.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think we need the constant experimental gameplay. Especially, I don't know. Tears of the Kingdom lost me a little bit because I thought that all the building stuff kind of wore thin after a while. It was interesting and it was cool, but I don't know if we need as much of the experimental gameplay as I think we could build on that. Then have it less of a sandbox, but have it like immersive, but still somewhat like I don't want to say completely linear, but more focused as far as like you still have full dungeons and the dungeons need to be solved. And they're actually good dungeons, not like the Tears of the Kingdom ones. But you
Yeah,
have a different gimmick where you need to be immersive here, and that could be more of where the that kind of stuff goes. But I don't know if we want as much of the uh, directionless
yeah,
Zelda. Although I say that knowing that these are the two best-selling Zelda games at all time of all time, so clearly, me looking for something more Wind Waker styled when that game sold like 3 million copies at most is probably not gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. And I think they're tired of making the traditional linear Zelda style. Like they made so many of those, starting from what Ocarina of Time all the way up to Skyward Sword. I
Hmm.
think they're pretty much done with that formula.
Yeah, and I
So
think I guess I mean they can come with something completely new. Like we didn't really know what Breath of the Wild was going to look like till we saw it. So I mean they can come at us with something completely new, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know what I want to see from Zelda until I guess they show it to me. But I don't know if I want it. I don't. I think I'm good on the two Switch games. I feel like we can
yeah,
kind of close the book on that. I feel like I'm good on that
yeah, yeah.
world
We
and
can
that
close
style.
that that world, that style. You know, that gameplay, very sandbox like
Hmm.
experimental gameplay. Uh, having like over 100 of the same looking shrines every time. You know exactly what reward you're gonna get. I
Hmm.
think we're pretty much done with that formula.
New Majora's Mask styled game, baby. Let's go. They're gonna do that instead. So my next prediction, I guess, are we done with Zelda talk, or did you have any more Zelda?
Yes, I think we're done with Zelda.
I thought you were gonna say yes, Zelda Kart. Like it's something else. You had another game that you were gonna come
Yeah,
out.
it's like yes,
I would
Zelda
like
Hyrule
paper.
Warriors.
They're gonna do high. There will be a Warriors game. Just put that down. Koei Tecmo will be here with some stinky looking anti-alias free game. Um, it will be. They will be there. There will be a Musou at this presentation. Just put it down right now. Um,
Yep.
I would like to see something like a paper Zelda. That might be kind of cool, but they're not going to do that. My next prediction kind of was a new Fire Emblem game, but it's going to be more similar to Three Houses than Engage, I would imagine. Engage just kind of Engage is very forgettable. It was gameplay was good, but after something like Three Houses, it was a big downgrade. And Engage was completed in like 2021, and they just sat on it until like early 2023 to release it. So obviously Intelligent Systems has been working on something. Then they have several teams like that works on different IP, but I think we'll see a new Fire Emblem. I mean, Fire Emblem is one of the big franchises, so I think we'll see a new one, and I think it'll probably be like first year of the Switch too. Um, and then maybe like kind of similar, they will put out a remake, like a Genealogy of the Holy War remake for original Switch, kind of like how they put out the Echoes, Fire Emblem Gaiden remake on 3DS. But that was my prediction. Any Fire Emblem thoughts?
No, I mean I kind of forgot about Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna they're gonna make a new Fire Emblem game. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
think it's time.
great.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's time.
I don't really like the idea of. Well, Three Houses is obviously a really great game, but uh, I kind of rather not have like the split path decision.
I hope they don't do that. I just
Uh,
need more, just kind of the other ways. I want a
yeah,
more
I just
linear
need something.
story, I think, but I think it'll have like that kind of school life stuff. I think it'll have the more open ended, like outside of the maps, stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Three Houses is easily the most popular Fire Emblem game,
Yes.
and people still talk about that game like regularly, despite it being 6 years old this year. Um,
Yeah.
so I think it's about
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. The problem with Three Houses is you have one path that's really good, and that's like the Blue Lions Dimitri path, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then the Golden Deer with a what's his name? Claude, upside
Mm-hmm.
down guy. That one's okay. And then if you pick Edelgard, it's like it's just over. So bad.
Well, not
But
only
it
did
doesn't
I pick the
matter.
Edelgard path, but I also took the worst path for Edelgard in my one
You
playthrough of
took
that game.
you took the church default path, which is probably the worst one.
Yeah, and I still liked the
It's
game quite a
really
bit, but I
bad.
started getting kind of out on the story. And I
Yeah,
started the DLC, but I bounced from that pretty quick. I was not
yeah, yeah.
interested in the
I don't think
DLC.
people I don't think people talk about that enough. It's like Three Houses is extremely good if you pick
Hmm.
the
I think people
if you
just like
pick
the
Dimitri.
characters, though. People just like the characters in the world
Yeah,
more than they like the story. So I think I would like to see them do it, but
yeah.
linear
It's
story,
just-
not a story like
yeah,
Engage where the story like didn't exist at all, and like that's the story in that game was terrible. Like,
yeah, yeah. The story may be kind of. I replayed Engage just to like remember what
when did you
that game was even
replay
about.
Engage?
It was maybe like over the summer. I can't remember. I
Hmm.
can't remember exactly when. Maybe it was over winter break.
Huh.
Um,
Okay. And I couldn't tell you one thing that
it
happened in that
was.
story. I couldn't tell you one character in that story except for Alir
Yeah,
was the main character.
yeah, I
Um,
can't remember.
the Trix yogurt hair character.
Yeah, the Pepsi
Yeah, Pepsi
toothpaste.
Pepsi
Yeah.
toothpaste. Yeah, I mean, I
And then
remember the gameplay being fun. I remember it was I would fall asleep during the cutscenes. I no joke had fallen asleep during some of the dialogue and during some of the cutscenes in that game.
yeah. However, I would rather have just like a singular story rather than the split four from Three Houses. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take.
I don't.
I
I mean,
don't.
it's not for me.
I don't
So,
know.
but we'll move on from it before we embarrass ourselves more on Fire Emblem. Did you have any?
Yes.
You up next for the your next prediction? What do you think? We're staying on first party stuff for
Yeah.
now. We'll get to third party in a second.
Yeah. So how about Metroid?
Metroid. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Metroid Prime 4, obviously, I think I think it has to be both Switch 1 and Switch 2, right?
I think they'll pull
And
like a Breath of the Wild Twilight Princess just because they announced it for Switch One, 8 years ago. But I think it'll be both.
yeah, yeah, I would like it. Think I would probably even go a step further and say it's going to be a launch title.
It'd be an
Even though,
interesting launch title. I think it would be a big boost
yeah,
for Metroid just for the fact that
yeah,
a lot
the
of people are
fact
going to
that
be
it's a
looking for
launch
a high
title,
quality game.
yeah, it's going to be like a Breath of the Wild situation where it'll be a launch title for the Switch 2, but you can still play it for the Switch 1. Have this if you can't get the Switch 2 for some reason. Would you still want to play Metroid Prime 4?
Mm-hmm. Will there be any other Metroid in the first year? Like, will they remake Super Metroid for the original Switch or something, like they did with?
I don't want to.
Remember when they
I don't
said?
want to see.
I know you don't, but you know that it would sell.
I know it would sell, and I know the game would be really good. if it's made from like Mercury Steam, for example, I know they're
Yeah.
gonna make it very good. But Super Metroid is already near perfect, and a Super Metroid remake is going to be just an objectively worse game. It's still gonna be good again, but it's just not gonna be the same.
Just
I play
remember.
Monster Hunter, but I also
Mhm.
speedrun Super Metroid a lot, so I am kind of biased. But that's just mm, Super Metroid is like the defining Metroidvania game. So you already know that they're gonna change a lot of the cool things that made Super Metroid speedrunning fun. Um, it'll just be something different. I would rather have them remake something like Fusion. I think a
Yeah.
Fusion remake would be more
I mean that could
warranted
happen.
than
But
a Super
if they're
Metroid
gonna
remake.
go in if they're gonna go in order, it's gonna be Super Metroid at some point. But I could see it. Remember
Yeah.
how in 2017 it was at the E3 Direct they announced Prime 4, and then at the Treehouse they announced Return of Samus for 3DS or Samus Returns or whatever they called the Metroid 2 remake
Yeah,
for
Samus Returns is for the
3DS.
3DS.
And that was the Mercury Steam one, which it's so funny that that came out and that game feels so ancient, and that was announced after Metroid Prime 4. And then
Yeah.
Metroid Dread came out, and that game is 4 years old this year, and that came out after Metroid Prime 4. It's been a while, so yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's a
For 2D
potential.
Metroid, I would rather have them either
I think they should just
either
continue
do a
from Dread.
Fusion remake or yeah, make Metroid 6 continue from Dread.
I mean,
If
if
they're gonna
someone,
make
yeah,
continue from if they're gonna continue from Dread, I would like them to talk more about the Federation Force, um,
they're gonna make that
Galactic
game
Federation.
insanely canon.
Wait,
Federation
not the
Force for
game
3DS.
Federation
No, they're gonna
Force,
make that so canon it
the,
hurts.
but what do they call the Galactic Federation?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think so.
but because like just if you think about what happened in Fusion, right? Sh- She would like Samus essentially committed a crime at the very end. Spoilers, sorry, but
Oh man, spoilers for a 20-year-old game.
but but it wasn't like even talked about at all in Dread. So I like them to for Metroid 6, I'd like them to explore more about the Galactic Federation, the relationship between Samus and the Galactic Federation, because like she's a she's kind of a fugitive to them. So maybe they'll go into that. I don't know.
What is that? Metroid 7 or Metroid 6?
It'll be Metroid 6.
Metroid
Dread is 5.
6. Metroid 6 Samus in jail is the new game.
Yeah, Metroid 6, and then Samus has to start shooting people.
Yeah, she's
That'd be
in
pretty.
jail and
That'd be pretty dark.
her cellmate's Jared Fogle.
No.
That'd be the game. That's the game. It's for Switch. No one's going to play it. It'll come out like 2029 and Switch will be so decrepit that no one's Switch can even run. So that no one can prove that that game actually existed. Um
Right.
so my next prediction was Monolith Soft. I feel like since like 2017 has said that they are working on an action game, an action RPG. So I think we'll finally see that. It's they've been hiring it forever. I think we'll see a new IP, new action RPG from Monolith Soft. Um, that's my prediction. Maybe we'll see something Xenoblade 2. It is interesting that they released Xenoblade Chronicles X. They kind of wanted to seems like they wanted to have everything playable on Switch moving forward. So maybe Xenoblade 4 is a possibility too. But I think it's probably about time for Monolith Soft. I mean, they're a workhorse studio, and they're it's been a while since their main game. I mean, 2022 since their main game, and they've probably the fact that they moved that game up shows pretty clearly that it was done for a while. So I think we can probably assume that Monolith will be there at some point. Not Monolith Productions, who got closed down from Warner Brothers, but Monolith Soft. Any thoughts on that one? Any input?
Yeah. Yeah. Monolith Soft is really just they're a beast. They 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 pumped out all the Xenoblade Chronicles games up to the Switch within the Switch lifecycle, which is amazing
So, well, I just want to
and
say,
kind
put
of
into
unbelievable.
perspective, Monolith Soft,
And
since Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze that Retro put out, their last game, Monolith Soft put out Xenoblade Chronicles X, the original, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the DLC, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive, Xeno, and then added Future Connected. They made Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the DLC, and then Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. In the time since Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out with Retro.
Yes, not to mention that they also helped out with
Oh
games like
yeah,
Breath of the Wild, Tears of the
and
Kingdom,
Animal
New
Crossing,
Horizons.
all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. I don't.
Eh,
They're the like Nintendo's workhorse studio, so I am sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and it's not like their games are pretty garbage.
no,
They're good. They're good games, and they look really good.
well, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, maybe those characters are pretty
You know,
garbage, but
the character designs are bad, but
I think the characters are bad too.
the world
Rex,
the yeah,
if
Rex from Xenoblade
Rex
Chronicles 2 has zero drip.
has anti drip. Pyra and Mithra, Tora, no, nope. I am Xenoblade Chronicle 2
Yeah,
characters main haters.
yeah, they're but like the world design and everything else looks really good. The music is really good
Yeah,
as well. So it's I would imagine they're gonna make something really quickly. I don't know if they're gonna make Xenoblade Chronicles 4 because I heard that it's like originally meant to be a trilogy.
I mean they might make a new Xeno. I
So
mean they did Xenogears and then they had a Xeno Saga trilogy.
yeah,
They might be done with
yes,
Xenoblade and they might just make Xenophobia Chronicles
yeah, yes.
instead.
Kind of on the
New Xeno.
xenophobia.
Yeah, not
So
Monolith's new game,
maybe
Xenophobia.
yeah, maybe their next action game is some new Xeno game.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be cool. I'd like to see them try something new. I mean, an action RPG from them could be interesting. It would be just good to see something new from them. Because I mean, they've been
Right.
making that Xenoblade style game since the original Xenoblade in 2010, with the exception, of course, of Project Cross Zone for 3DS, of which they made both of those games. Project Cross Zone 3, maybe they'll be there. I'm sure. What
Yeah.
is your next prediction
Mhm.
for first party? You have any more?
I think I'm out of first party.
Dang. Okay. I'll go through some other ones that I have. These are not much to talk about on these ones. So Platinum Games, not first party studio, but they work with Nintendo. They're pretty much in the toilet. It's pretty much Jover for those guys. It unfortunately everyone's pretty much left them, so they're kind of just picking up contract work. It looks like for now. But the director of Astral Chain, Tora, he left Platinum and started his own studio. There's not been much news about that, but I wonder if his new studio is working with Nintendo. Maybe on an Astral Chain 2 because Nintendo owns that IP. Maybe on something completely new, but I could imagine Nintendo would want to, keep working with him. I know it was always in talks that they were going to make Astral Chain 2, but Nintendo, I don't think, was super happy working with Platinum, especially how Bayonetta 3 took 20 million years to come out and then wasn't really that great. So it'd be cool to see something like that, sequel to that, new game. I don't know. So that was a thought. I don't know if you have anything to say about that one, but yeah, things aren't looking so good
No,
for Platinum.
I don't.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bayonetta 3 is such an interesting situation
yeah,
because
that
that
game.
took so long. It it was announced in the Game Awards, right?
Yeah, 2017. It
And
didn't come out till 2022.
then it come out to 2022, and then it just ended up being.
The gameplay
It
was
doesn't seem like.
great. I mean, it's great character action. When you play as Bayonetta, when you play as the other characters, it's kind of bad. But playing as Bayonetta in that game is great. But like visually, it looks worse than Bayonetta 2 from the Wii U, and
Yeah, I was gonna
it's
mention
more
that.
open.
It just.
It's more open ended. It's more open ended, but it didn't need to be. You could tell that they were gonna like try to make it open world, but then kind of cut down on that. It, I mean, the character action gameplay is great when you're playing as Bayonetta, but it's easily the weakest of that trilogy. And the story was so bad. The story is maybe the worst. I mean, Bayonetta's story's always been bad, but the story in Bayonetta 3 is maybe the worst story I've ever seen in any video game. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I'm not joking either. Like, there's like a Bayonetta multiverse from what I remember. I guess this is a spoiler, so click off. Um, if you don't want to, like, just click the right arrow like 20 seconds. But Bayonetta like dies at the end of Bayonetta 3. But then like it's like a stupid death. So like I don't think she's actually dead. Um, so they could kind of just probably leave it there, though. I think I'd be fine because I don't think Nintendo. We're out of spoiler zone just for the listeners now. If you really care about the spoilers, but I don't think Nintendo, you know, wants to really work on Bayonetta anymore, just because they have to also co-publish that with Sega because Sega owns the IP. So Sega makes money off that. That like Nintendo could just work with if they wanted to keep working with Platinum, could just make a new IP and get make more money off of it than having to like share the profits with Sega. I don't think they want to keep working on that one. So we can leave that one in the past. Uh,
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we'll see next level games. It's been since 2022 when they put out Mario Strikers, whatever, on the Switch. I think they'll put out Luigi's Mansion 4. Luigi's Mansion 3 sold like 12 million copies or something. I mean, Luigi's Mansion 3 was randomly just really huge, and it's a great game, so good for it. But I think we'll see Luigi's Mansion 4. I think that'll be like first Halloween time of Switch. I mean, Luigi's Mansion 3 came out on Halloween Day of 2019, so I think they'll just do that again, probably, or close to Halloween. Um,
Yeah.
Other than that, I do want to bring up that this is not quite the first year, but 2026 is the 40th anniversary of Zelda, the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, the 40th anniversary of Metroid, 45th of Donkey Kong, and the 25th of Animal Crossing. So, do we think any of those? We already talked about Zelda and Metroid, but do we think? And I don't really even want to talk about Pokemon, but do we think Donkey Kong will get anything? It's been so long. I mean, we got Donkey Kong
Right.
Returns HD, but I mean that was just clearly we just want to fill up the calendar type game. And Animal Crossing, I mean Animal Crossing is one of the biggest games on Switch. I could see them wanting to have a new game for Switch 2 pretty close to launch. Um, so I mean if
Yeah.
it comes out 2026, it'd be 6 years. It's already been 5 years since Animal Crossing New Horizons. So I don't think it would be necessarily uh, I don't think it'd be necessarily like completely out of pocket. They're not supporting Animal Crossing New Horizons anymore, so maybe Animal Crossing next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that's certainly feasible.
Yeah, I don't know if
It
there's
does
much
match
else to
with
say.
the 25th anniversary.
I think it'd be fun to have a new Donkey Kong, like 3D Donkey Kong game, like like a Donkey Kong 64, but not Donkey Kong 64. A little bit better honed and everything, more focused. But
Yeah.
that'd be nice. Um, And then I get we got to just bring it up. I don't know how much I want to talk about it, but Smash Brothers. Sakurai did a
There's
Nikocado Avocado where he revealed that all of his videos were recorded 2 years ago, um, and that he's been working on something for since around then. So, do we see
Mhm.
Smash Brothers? As far as Smash
No.
Brothers go, I feel like they're just going to port Ultimate and maybe have a couple more years of
Yeah.
characters added to it.
Yeah, it's like adding more characters to a roster that already has like I think over 70 at this point
I think it's over 80.
is, yeah, over 80 even.
Yeah.
It's somewhere around that number, but adding more characters I think is really the only viable option because for a game like that it has to be a very difficult game to make and balance and
My
yeah, I just don't see it happening.
I
I
don't.
think Sakurai might just be done.
I could see him working on
Uh,
something else. I want to see this man work on something else. Don't let this man retire having not made a new original game since 2012. If that happens, Kid Icarus Uprising is probably the best game on 3DS. That game's great. Sakurai wrote that game. He directed that game. Like that game is awesome. Um, let him do something new. Let him pluck in an old Nintendo
yeah,
IP and
yeah. Set
let
him
him make a
free.
new Ice Climbers game. What is that going to look like? We didn't know what Kid Icarus would look like in a modern context. Like let him do that. I want to see let him make
Yeah,
a new IP. Let him make something. I don't know.
set him free from the Smash Brothers jail. Let him make something.
Yeah, like
Maybe the game he's working on is something else.
let his protege. I'm sure he has one. Japanese game devs love to have their proteges. Let him direct the next Smash Brothers. Let Sakurai let him free. He's been chained down by Smash Brothers since 2012.
Right.
But
He's been locked in a jail cell eating half an onigiri
yeah, he has had
every day.
Nintendo has him tied up in Bandai Namco headquarters just to make half an onigiri. Eat half an onigiri just to make Smash Brothers. He's like, oh, we gotta look at Olimar's frame data or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta make sure this interacts properly with this. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's now like thousands of more combinations we have to check.
Sakurai's like, yeah, I
And
just spent 3 months of my life working on this one item and making sure it works with every single character. And most people don't play with items on, so
yeah, so I just don't see next Smash Brothers anytime soon.
I
Uh, they're at the most they're gonna port it to the Switch 2, and then maybe,
yeah, maybe they give us every
maybe the
direct
ports
moving
will
forward.
include, yeah, the port will probably include all the DLC
Hmm.
from the original game, and then they'll add on to it, kind of like what they did with
Yeah, like
Mario
maybe
Kart 8.
2 season passes or something, and 10 more characters, and
Right.
then they call it a day. The only thing I could see is that they go into Ultimate, they port it over, but then they kind of go up in and touch up some of the older fighters like move sets, because you have some characters like Donkey Kong or like whoever who have and Yoshi who have like super simplified move sets compared to something as crazy as like Hero or Cloud. So I could see them maybe going in and saying like we're gonna retool a few characters move sets to make them a little bit more in line
Yeah.
with modern Smash Brothers. We're gonna have all the DLC characters on the cartridge, and then we are going to have 2 seasons of new fighters that each come with a new stage, and that's it. And that's kind of all I would really want.
Yeah. Yeah. But the people who are saying that there's gonna be a new Smash Brothers is a little bit
If they put out a new Smash
naive
Brothers, they
and
would have to
delusional.
have like a roster of 100 characters to
Yeah,
like
if they
make
put
it
on a new Smash
worthwhile.
Brothers, that would be, yeah, that would, they can't top Ultimate. It was kind of like it was almost like a mistake to include like a huge roster, because
Mm-hmm.
now the expectation is, well, you don't want to cut like the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the roster is very big, you can't just cut the roster
No. Yeah, I mean,
because that's gonna make people upset.
I think what we said is basically what it's going to be. Maybe they go in and retool some fighters. Maybe they go in and add Echo fighters, but I think we're going to just get
Yeah.
an enhanced port that has a couple seasons of DLC that they kind of build off of just to have it on the modern system, sell it to everyone again. So, moving on from Smash Brothers, was there any last first party Nintendo thoughts we had about anything? I mean, we could see a new Yoshi game. We could see a new WarioWare. We could see Pikmin 5. Like, there's a million different things we could say. I don't know how
Yeah, it
interesting that is
just,
to
yeah.
discuss.
Those, yeah, those are a lot
And
smaller,
we can't
and
exactly predict a new IP. Like, no one was going to predict ARMS at the original Switch reveal, or like, no one was going to predict Splatoon. So
right.
I can't predict a new IP or whatever. So,
Yeah.
ARMS
Even
2
though we
launch
don't,
title will sell 20 million copies day one.
yeah, although it is a new IP would be something we would most likely see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be one. I can't predict that. I could make a Mad Libs of like Nintendo Cube will be making a MOBA that is hyper realistic,
Yeah.
takes place in medieval times, and has dragons and robots or something. Like I could make a Mad Libs, but that sounds like brain rot. So I'm not gonna do that. What we
Right.
are gonna do is we're gonna go into some brief. I mean, it doesn't have to be brief, but third party. What are we thinking from third party? Because I want to go first on this one and just get it out of the way. I think we'll finally see Final Fantasy VII remake, both of them, and Final Fantasy 16. I think those would be pretty safe guesses.
For the Switch too.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
Square is kind of disappointed with how these games have sold. Um, Japan loves Nintendo in the Switch, and they could unlock a big market by putting these games on a Nintendo hardware, especially over there. So I think we'll see those. I think they'll make it work.
Yeah, I mean,
Rebirth might be
just
hard, but I think Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth might not come immediately, but I think Final Fantasy VII Remake will be in the first year of Switch 2.
yeah, I guess like even more generally, now that's like if the Switch is as powerful as like the PS5, not the PS5, but the PS4 Pro, for instance, that opens the door for a lot of third-party games to now come into the Switch.
I mean, you got to remember
The
a lot of third-party games are still getting PS4 versions. So we're not getting
yes.
anything less powerful than the base PS4 or base Xbox One. And those are still getting, like, my next predictions here were Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor, and the Yakuza games. More Yakuza games coming over from Sega. They ported Yakuza Kiwami to Switch 1. It was not a great port. It was a little rough, but these games all run on base PS4, all run on base, Xbox One. We're not getting anything less
Mhm.
powerful than that. So I think those games all have
Yes,
PS4
no,
versions. So I think we're getting those. I would lock those in. But I'll let you get to your
oh yes,
third party predictions now.
yeah. I don't really have third-party predictions. I mean, what could they do? Like, they could make Monster Hunter Rise 1080p 60 FPS on the Switch for once, but
Will they try?
that
Will
game,
they
I
try their
think
darndest
that's
to bring Monster Hunter Wilds over?
probably not.
No,
If I'm gonna be honest, the game's already kind of a little bit rough. It's not perfect on the PS5.
I don't
I
know
don't
though.
think
But
that
for
game was released for the
Japan, do you think that
PS4.
they're gonna really try to work some magic?
I mean, I thought that would be nice. I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
play it on the Switch, but
No, I mean, if I were to play pretty much most of these third-party games that I'm going to predict, I've already played, or if I were to play them, I would play them on PlayStation 5, just because I don't want to play. I don't really care about playing the Switch handheld, so that part of it is not really a selling point to me. I would just want the best version of it on my TV. But I mean, as far as things go, I think Nintendo bought that studio Shiver. It's just like a Switch porting studio essentially. I wonder if they're gonna really try to push to have something like that and be like, hey, here's our in-house first party studio who's designed and working especially to port stuff like this. Like I think that's the team they bought him in from Embracer Group, but I think that's the team who ported like Hogwarts Legacy to the Switch, and that Switch version, as crusty and disgusting as it is like a sleeper, like huge seller for the Switch. So I wonder if they're gonna be like, hey, Capcom, we want, Monster Hunter Wilds on Switch 2. Here's Shiver. They're gonna just do it for you. They're gonna work on it. We'll come to a deal. I could see it happening. I think they're gonna really try their best to get it, especially for the Japanese market, though.
yeah,
Any
yeah,
other predictions for third party?
not not really.
Yeah, I mean, once
Mm,
again, it would be new games. Um, I don't really know. I don't, like I said, I can't really predict new IP. As far as existing stuff or like upcoming stuff, I could see like some of the Resident Evil like 4 remake or something being ported. That was on PS4. All the Resident Evil like Village 7. I know there was cloud versions of 2, 3 remake and 7 and 8. Like I feel like those could all be ported but be like, natively running on Switch 2.
yeah,
I could see, will Microsoft be there? We see any Xbox game there? Any first party Microsoft game? Cuz what do you think? Cuz I could see it. Silence. It's a hard question.
that is a hard question.
I I could see them being like, yeah, Master Chief Collection's coming to Switch too. Or I could see them being like Gears of War Collection that's been rumored that's coming to Switch too, or Fable next year coming to Switch too. I could see because they're already putting all their stuff on other systems anyway. I could see Switch 2 becoming one of those. Maybe Sea of Thieves comes to Switch 2. Um, I don't know, Hi-Fi Rush or something. Oblivion remake.
Yeah. No, you can't remake that.
It's rumored there's going to be a remake, but they better not change the voice acting.
They're gonna change the voice acting.
If they change the
So
voice acting,
instead of three people doing the voice acting, it's gonna be like four.
300.
Yeah.
They're all Troy Baker. It's just
Yeah,
Troy
and they're
Baker.
all
He
Troy
voices
Baker.
everyone. Um, I think an easy one, and I could almost see this being a launch title, is Elden Ring. I think that'll be ported probably pretty obviously. Um,
Yeah, that would be a really
Ubisoft.
interesting one.
Ubisoft is anywhere they can be that they think they're going to make some money. They put their stuff on Amazon Luma. They were like one of the last Stadia supporters. I think Ubisoft will bring Assassin's Creed Shadows to Switch 2. I think Ubisoft will be there with several things. Um, and I think something
Yeah.
like maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 will be like that big, like, oh, I can't believe this is on Switch. There's always one. So I remember like Skyrim was like, I can't believe this is on Switch. I think that they're going to, like an older game that people are kind of shocked is on Switch. And I think it'll probably be like Red Dead Redemption 2, something like that. Maybe GTA 5, although with 6 coming out this year, I don't know if they'd even want to bother. Um, and then I guess my
Yeah.
last one, if you didn't have anything else to say about the third party predictions, my last one is the least interesting one. So I'm going to put it at the last is that EA Sports games will be there. Not just like FIFA Legacy Edition, not just like, the horrible versions, but Madden was never on the Switch. There was never a Madden game on Switch. They'll have Madden, I think, on Switch too. They will have, solid ports of NBA, 2K, all that stuff. They won't have the horrendous ports of WWE 2K, uh, like that stuff. I think that'll all be there. MLB The Show, obviously, that came out on Switch, which it didn't come out on PS4, but came out on Switch. And I think like NCAA college football will come out this year on Switch too as well. So those are like the least interesting, but I mean it is kind of notable that those games never came to the original Switch like Madden or any like that, specifically Madden. And I
Right.
guess as far as games like that too, I think Call of Duty, there will be some kind of Call of Duty on Switch by the end of like on Switch 2 by the end of like summer. Whether it's like Warzone or whatever, or it's they port Black Ops 6, I think there'll be some kind of Call of Duty. Because once again, those are on PS4. Black Ops 6 came out on PS4.
Yeah, that's certainly very possible. And
And remember in
actually
the
not even just possible, very likely.
remember in the Microsoft in the big Activision court case with them buying Activision, they said that they for 10 years bring their games to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation and also bring it to Nintendo. So I mean, I'm gonna guess we'll see a Switch 2 Call of Duty something. I mean, I think the next Call of Duty, the one that comes out at the end of this year, will be on Switch 2, but I think we'll see something before that. Any final thoughts? Any
Yep.
final predictions? Any final anything here? Because I think we've been recording for an hour.
Wow, holy moly.
It's gonna be big. April
Mm,
2nd,
yeah, that's gonna be a big day. When is April 2nd?
next Wednesday. We're recording this on March 25th, so if any kind of news comes out after March 25th, we didn't know about it. So if
Yeah,
somehow
like
Nintendo did a direct where they're like, "Hello, everybody, Miyamoto has died, unfortunately, and Nintendo's canceled. We have shut down the company." If they did that and I put this out, uh, sorry. Hopefully
yeah.
that's not the
Now
case, though.
I've had read that there has been rumors that there's gonna be a direct this week,
Yeah, I saw
which
that
I don't
too.
believe at all.
I don't know if
I
I
don't
buy
believe that
that.
at all.
Maybe like a
Because
direct mini,
considering,
just being like, "All right, we got to dump out the rest of this crap."
yeah, there's just no way they're gonna announce a direct a week before, um, the big cheese, the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation. There's no way they're
I
gonna
just
do
can't
that.
imagine them being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put out a direct." At the very least, I could see it being Wednesday at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern. They're gonna put out Nintendo Switch Mini Direct that has like all the cozy farming simulator games coming out within the next year, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah,
nothing
all the
else.
smaller indie games. Yeah.
Like the stuff they're contractually obligated to like shove out there and advertise, but they don't know where to put it, and it's not going to go in the Switch 2 Direct. I could see that, but I almost think you want to put that out like after Switch 2, like April, the end of April. Just be like, oh, just a Switch little Switch thing. Nothing about Switch 2 is going to be here. We're still supporting it,
Yeah.
so stay tuned.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be something like that. But there's no way they're gonna announce like Mario Kart 9 a week before the Switch 2 presentation. That
No,
would
it would
be
just be so
insane.
dumb, especially since they put out this Switch 2 date in January. They were in
Yeah.
January. That is when they were like, "All right, guys, April 2nd. That's when we're gonna have direct a direct to show you all the features and all the everything of Switch 2." So I I don't know. I can't imagine that they'd be stupid enough to. They haven't said like nothing's come out. They've said nothing. Like I don't think so. But any final words?
Right. Um, I think that's all I have. I mean, what are we gonna think about the release date of the Switch 2 though?
I
I
think
don't think
June
we
or July.
discussed about that.
The
Beginning of
uh,
summer.
the Switch One presentation was in January, and it came out the beginning of March. I think they'll probably do the same. I think it'll be like this early April, and it'll come out in June. I think you put it out like Nintendo is. I think they're they want to think that their primary demographic is children and not like man children. So they probably are like, oh, we put it out when the kids are out of school. Like that'll be good. I think probably June.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that it's not. I don't have to like fight and like camp at like a website just to order a
I
Switch
don't
2,
think
like
that'll be the
the Switch
case.
one.
I've seen all the reports that are like, yeah, they're really trying to just have a ton of stock already stocked up in warehouses. I don't think that'll be the case, but you never know. I mean, on that day, I'm going
Yeah,
to be sitting there ready to go. Whoever's putting up pre-orders links is where I'm going. Um, unless it's Walmart,
yeah,
I'm not even bothering if Walmart puts up a pre-order. I'm not even bothering because I hate Walmart. But I have never once had a pre-order actually get fulfilled from them. They always cancel it. They always oversell and cancel it. It's so stupid,
yeah. It kind of sucks that it falls on a Wednesday, which is my busiest day
bruh.
of the week. That it
But
is a very bruh moment.
yeah, I had something else I already had to do, so I took a personal day. So I didn't just take it for Switch 2, but I had something else I had to do, so it kind of lined up nicely. But all right, that's it for video, this predictions. The only question I really had here is when's the Switch 3 coming out?